Hi everyone, Rachel from North Brisbane, psychologists. I can't even say the name of my own business today. It is a Friday as I make this video. I wanted to make a video today on the topic of self-confidence, which is something that I talk about with clients sometimes. The sort of clients who come to see me, one of the goals that they have is to increase their self-confidence. And I often start by letting them know that in Latin, confidence is confidence, which means with, con is with, fidence is faith. So to have faith in yourself, basically, to be with a sense of faith in your own strengths, your own intuition, knowing your limits would be another part of self-confidence, knowing your weaknesses. And today I want to talk about what it is that we can have faith in. And I want to suggest just two things that you could do or work on to increase your self-confidence. So the first one, and I work on this with quite a few of my clients, is about recognizing and accepting your strengths. Now this might sound like, a really strange thing, but human beings put layers of resistance over the top of their experience. For example, just a little sidetrack here, we might be sitting in a traffic jam, or someone might have criticized us, or something's happened to trigger pain in us, the pain of frustration, that mental pain of exasperation, or it might be the pain of hurt and rejection, or the pain of disappointment. And then, of course, the mind kicks in, this shouldn't be happening. How dare they? Why does this always happen to me? And a million other things. And then we're resisting our internal experience. And this resistance, pain times resistance equals suffering. So instead of accepting what is in here and out there, we resist. The mind builds up all these resistances. Now, funnily enough, we often resist positive experiences too. You might relate to getting a compliment and brushing it off. I used to react when someone would say, "Oh, that's a really nice jacket." I'd say, "Oh, it's just a cheap thing I got in an op shop," or "Oh, this old thing." And now I say, "Yeah, me too. I like it as well. Thanks." Or, "You look nice today," or "I enjoyed that video. Thank you." It's a gift. When someone gives you a compliment, they're giving you a gift. And when someone gives you a gift, we all know that, it's good manners to receive it and say thanks. So I've learned to do that. Although I do absolutely relate to other people's experience, I've had it myself where there's a resistance and we want to minimize the positives, the compliments, So this is, this can happen in both positive and negative situations. First of all, let's define acceptance. I talk a lot about this as a psychologist, and many of my colleagues do as well. Acceptance is a willingness to experience reality without judgment. Acceptance is not the same as approval. Acceptance is not the same as tolerance. It doesn't mean you will just accept people's poor treatment of you and that you won't take appropriate action. It's not putting up with, misery. Acceptance is actually the starting point for change and for taking action. This is the paradoxical thing about acceptance. When I accept myself as I am, then I can change. When I accept my reality as it is, then I can do something about it. I hope you see the inherent truth and yet paradoxical nature of that. So we want to accept our strengths. We don't want to push away or minimize our achievements and our talents and our abilities. I think it's wise for us to know our strengths and leverage them, draw on them. One of my natural strengths is I like people. That's a simple way of saying it. And I'm a psychologist, so that's a pretty good fit. I didn't have to go to university to learn that I love people. That was already there. So, and I like connecting and conversing with people. So that's hardwired into some of us. And there are many questionnaires such as the VIA Character Strength Survey, which I can put a link to down below, where you can identify your top strengths and really make best use of them. Make sure your job and your social life and the way you set up your life makes use of your strengths. Contemplate, how else could I use my strengths? But we also need to, and celebrate those strengths. We also need to accept our weaknesses, our personal liabilities, and our imperfections. So, I want to make some distinctions here. Accepting our weaknesses and our limitations and our foibles and our mistakes and our flaws is not the same as having a lot of shame. We can accept our limitations, our liabilities, and our weaknesses without falling into shame, just like we can accept our strengths without becoming braggadocious and arrogant. So, in fact, accepting our weaknesses can be an antidote to shame, because we say, I'm human. I'm probably not the only one who's failed at this. I'm not the only one who's fallen into this trap. I'm not the only one who's made these kind of mistakes. I'm not the only one who struggles with this kind of thing. So in some ways, fully accepting our personality, liabilities, or weaknesses is an antidote to shame. And I would say truly appreciating our strengths could be an antidote to arrogance as well. Because we need to know, we're not the only ones with those strengths, and we're not the only one with those weaknesses. And accepting strengths and weaknesses, we allow for vulnerability. We allow ourselves to have our anxiety and our fears and our disappointments and our frustrations, all of it without any shame. I said to a client the other day, I still get anxious. I still feel sadness and disappointment. I still feel social anxiety, I think we were talking about. I still feel fear. I still feel worry. I still feel disappointment. But one thing I don't feel very much these days is shame for having those feelings. I really realize how normal and human they are. So acceptance and knowledge of your strengths and your weaknesses, and having faith in yourself. Another way I like to say it is being unapologetically yourself. So please go forth and do you unapologetically. And please let me know in the comments below if you have any tips or experiences for building self-confidence. Until next time, bye for now.